Okay, so we're going to work backwards. We're going to think about what we want our domain and range to be, and then we're going to actually sketch a graph that meets that requirement. So we want to sketch a graph that has a domain of all real numbers between and including -3 and 10, written as -3 to 10. And we want our range to be all real numbers between and including -4 to 6, written as -4 to 6. We don't have to write an equation. We just want to come up with what that graph would look like. So here's how I do this. I know that I don't want my graph to go past -3 or past 10 for x's. So I'm going to actually draw little guidelines for myself. So -3 would be right here. Okay, I need to keep my graph no further than that. And 10, I think, is actually right off the graph. Okay, so for domain, I need to keep it inside the yellow lines. For range, I need to keep it between -4 and +6. So I can't let it go past this line. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, can't let it go past this line. So we want to keep it basically inside that little box. Okay, now it has to be a function, which means that you can't have more than one output for the same input, or if you understand the vertical line test, it has to pass the vertical line test. So as far as what your function looks like, I don't care. Make sure it actually touches each side of your box, okay? So to do that really simply, I mean, you could do even something as simple as that, right? It's a portion of a line, it meets the requirements, it's a function, we're good. I did ask that you were creative, so maybe you came up with something a little bit more interesting, something like that. Okay, or maybe you came up with, maybe we have something that looks like this, and then we have something that looks like this, and then I'd want to actually do this so I can make sure I get all the values in there, something like that. So there's a limitless number of possibilities there for you to have as far as functions go. The second one said, sketch a function with a domain of all real numbers and a range of the values of 2, 4, 5, and 8. Now, those are very specific values, which means your only y values that you're allowed to have are 2, 4, 5, and 8. Okay, so my domain, I'm going to go ahead and restrict my domain just like I did before, except this time I don't have to, do I? Because my domain is all real numbers. So I've got to think about how I can get a domain of all real numbers. Okay, I use every x value, but I only use certain y values. So it's a little tricky, but you've seen problems like this probably in the past. So let's say we have y equals 2, 4, 5, and 8. So at y equals 2, let's say I do this. Okay, I go from here and I go forever to the left. So now that takes care of all my x values from -6 to the left. Okay, and then maybe I go out here to 8 and I say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I think that's y equals 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And I go like this. So it's all values now from x equals 8 on, and I've included y equals 8. I still have to include 4 and 5, and I have to make sure I get all those x values in between as well. So maybe I'll do this. So 2, I need to go up to 4, and I don't want to put a closed circle above the open circle. Or I'm sorry, I don't want to put an open. Let me say that again. I don't want to put a closed circle above another closed circle because then it wouldn't be a function. But I can do this. I can put an open circle there and say it's everything but just not including -6. And let's just keep going till we get here. Okay? And now I need to include all the y value, or the y value of 5. So again, I want to put an open circle above that closed circle. And then I go out here. Now I can't have a closed circle here because then it would be not a function again. So maybe I do that. Now, when I look at that, I see that no matter which x value I pick, I can find a y value, and there are only 4 y values being used. So this is one example of what you could do with a function like that. There are others, and maybe you found them, and that's great if you did. I'd love you to share them with me. And then make sure you read the note below. We've already kind of talked about that in the previous problem.